his morale, his presence, is what kept them together. We talked about Trent and the victory there, and the crossing. This is not the great painting, but it looks like a pretty good painting to me. You can imagine George Washington. Speaking of the waters, they even put like a little halo almost around his head, you know? That's how much the Americans are in reverence due to this man. And like the Hessians, right? There's like, the Hessians are the Germans, so mostly the Germans were the ones guarding Trenton. They're known as, right, the baddest batch of on the British side. And, you know, they're celebrating Christmas as the Germans were. And George Washington decided to give them a little, you know, present to Santa Claus, you know, on his sleigh. All right, key figures. George Washington, two of his men, his generals, and William Howe, who let victory slip away due to his being overly cautious. George Washington at times was a little too driven. He could have killed all the Americans, but his other generals and the Congress held him back and made for a good year, 1776. So takeaways: George Washington, in spite of the many sufferings, he was steadfast in spite of the criticism, the many losses, the retreats that he went on. And Washington wasn't an intellectual. He wasn't overly smart, but his steadfastness kept him, his fortitude kept him alive, and kept the whole army alive, the cause alive. And the Americans, right, they were farmer boys. They weren't trained army men. And so they didn't have much pay. The British had more. So it really took a leader to keep them in it. And this year, it was really a surviving year because they just kept on retreating south. But it was a testament which led to the victory at Trenton, just above the Delaware. And so, like, why does it matter? Why is it, like, so important or so awe-inspiring of the Americans just retreating all the time? Like, what's the victory? Where's the glory in that? And the glory lies in in the mind of Washington. There was a strategic mind, but also enduring, the fortitude, courage to persevere and to continue on. The British, they could have destroyed the American cause if they just went full gung-ho, but also the British suffered and grew tired under the Americans' rebellion and fighting back. So the glory is in perseverance that the Americans had over that long journey, and in the beginning of fighting for the cause, as the Declaration was made. Because if they didn't continue to survive, the Declaration would have died with it. But because they survived the Declaration, and the idea grew and was most vital the first year of the Declaration, and its survival led to its fruition. So that's that for the presentation, book report on 1776.